ESPN dropped a full Dolphins 53-man roster projection, and they left 5 interesting names off that final 53-man, I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today, and it's time to break down everything surrounding the Fins. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because when the Dolphins do cut down their roster to 53 players, we will have you covered, as well as be live for preseason games and have all training camp news you could possibly have. Our goal is to get to 58,000 subscribers before Week 1 against the Jaguars on September 8th. I think it's very doable, about 800 away. Hit that sub button and stay up to date on everything surrounding the Fins. The first name that ESPN left off the list, stunner, Jack Driscoll, the offensive lineman. I was absolutely stunned, and the reason why I put him first on this list is because I was absolutely stunned. When I was going through the roster projection and looking at who everybody had, I could not believe my eyes when I didn't see Jack Driscoll on the 53-man roster projection. It just shocked me because I think he could be the right guard at Week 1 for this team. This was what the projection was, so we can talk about it. Teron Armstead, Isaiah Wynn, Aaron Brewer, Robert Jones, and Austin Jackson was the projected starting 5, and they projected the Dolphins keeping 4 players in depth. Kendall Lamm, Patrick Paul, those 2 are pretty much locks in my opinion. And then they kept Liam Eichenberg as well as Lester Cotton. Those were the 9 offensive linemen that ESPN projected made this team. And I just think Jack Driscoll, even though he's been in a tackle in the past, he played right guard in the prior seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think he can easily be someone who starts at right guard if he performs well. Well, here's what ESPN actually had to say on the offensive line. Miami introduces new starters at center and right guard. Brewer will start at center. Eichenberg, Jones, and Cotton will compete for the open guard spot. Lamm operates as the team's primary swing tackle as second-round pick. Patrick Paul learns from the veterans ahead of him. I mentioned it. There was no mention of Jack Driscoll in that little excerpt from ESPN whatsoever. Do they just not think Jack Driscoll has a chance whatsoever? Because I feel like he has the mobility in the past at right guard for the Eagles back in 2021 to be the starting right guard if he performs really well during the preseason training camp. So, for me, Lester Cotton isn't some really good right guard or interior offensive lineman. I think Driscoll's going to make this team. I would be shocked if he ends up being cut, but ESPN projected him to be on the outs, so we'll see if it's right in about a month or so. But you predict it for me. Will Jack Driscoll be cut? Type C for cut or type K for capped. I'm going to be typing my Ks, but let me know your thoughts down below. Elijah Campbell did not make the Dolphins 53-man roster, according to ESPN. The longtime safety here of Miami, who's been with the Jets, been with the Fins, got left off the list. And you might be wondering, how could have he been kept off the list? Well, here were the 5 safeties that ESPN projected made the team. And I've got some thoughts on the matter. Obviously, Javon Holland, Jordan Poyer, and Marcus May made the team. Those are your top 3 safeties regardless. But they listed Nick Needham and Siran Neal as safeties in their roster projection. So they're keeping 5 safeties technically, and they only kept 4 corners in the form of Kader Kohu, Kendall Fuller, Jalen Ramsey, and Cam Smith. Now, I do project Nick Needham and Siran Neal more as cornerbacks, in my opinion. I know Needham worked in with the safety group earlier in OTAs and minicamp, and Siran Neal is more of a nickel corner / special teams guy. But Elijah Campbell, who's been on this team in the past, good special teamer as well. I wouldn't be completely stunned if Elijah Campbell got cut. But to me, that would be because Mark Perry, who's a UDFA, Jordan Colbert, who's a UDFA, or 6th-round pick Patrick McMorris out of Cal, balled out and took that 4 safety spot from him. It's not because they slot in Nick Needham and Siran Neal as safeties on this depth chart. Now, I do think it's probably helpful and beneficiary to have Needham and Neal on this roster because they could play nickel, they could play safety if injuries galore occurred and they need some more depth. But to me, I'm not cutting Elijah Campbell because Siran Neal and Nick Needham are playing safety. It would only be because one of the UDFAs or rookies stepped up and balled during training camp and preseason. I was a little bit shocked by Elijah Campbell being off the list. Another name that I don't really understand why people are hating on him, Jody Fortson Jr., the tight end who the Dolphins signed in free agency. I said everyone, illegitimately getting hate from everyone. The Miami Herald and Omar Kelly put out a roster projection. Jody Fortson was left off the list. ESPN did the same, off the list. Like, I don't know why Jody Forson Jr. is being left off these lists when he's been your second best tight end during OTAs and minicamp. It was widely reported. Jonnu Smith was the best. Jody Fortson was the second best. So why would he be left off the list? He's been productive in the past and had a role in the red zone for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that offense knows what they're doing, I think. But here are the projections from ESPN. Jonnu Smith, Durham Smythe, and Julian Hill made the roster. And I'm fine keeping Julian Hill. I know a lot of people are projecting him to make the roster due to him being probably the best pure pass or run blocking and blocking tight end that you have. I get that for jumbo packages in the red zone. I really, really do. But to me, I think it might be better to keep Jody Fortson Jr. over Durham Smythe, which is why I've labeled Smythe as a surprise cut candidate from my opinion in the past as well. And you can mark this word. You can clip it. You can do whatever you want. You can send it to Cold Takes Exposed on ESPN if I'm wrong. But I don't think I will be. I'm slamming the table, folks. Mark my words. Jody Fortson Jr. will absolutely be on the Dolphins 53-man roster. No ifs, no buts about it. He's making the team. I got faith in Jody. I really think it's going to happen. What needs to happen is you guys getting this t-shirt combo. Running out of sizes, it's not going to be here long. I keep on telling you that we keep on shipping out more on a daily basis. Chatsports.com/Dolphins combo is the best way to represent the Fins off the field with this nice little orange and aqua 2-pack combo. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Oh yeah, and it's $25 off. Get yours today. A name that is commonly thrown around here is Jeff Wilson Jr. And this is probably the only non-surprise on the list, if we're going to be honest. Like, we've talked in depth about Jeff Wilson not making this team because there's just not a role out for him on this squad. Once you drafted Jalen Wright in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, Jeff Wilson's roster spot kind of went out the window unless an injury occurred to one of the top 3 guys. Mostert, Achane, and Wright are going to be a 3-headed monster. I cannot wait to watch them. Mostert coming off 18 rushing touchdowns. Achane coming off a dominant rookie season where he only played in 11 games, had 800 yards and 11 total touchdowns. And then you add in Jalen Wright, the speedy 4.38 40-yard dash man from Tennessee. Yeah, this team is going to have a lot of weapons at the running back department. And then you also saw Chris Brooks on that projection list. I've talked about it in the past. If I had to project the Dolphins 53-man roster and their running back depth chart, my 4 guys to make the team would be the top 3 we already just spoke about, and then Chris Brooks, because he displayed a couple nice things out of BYU last year, but also provides more special teams value than I think Jeff Wilson does. Brooks being a younger guy, Wilson being an experienced veteran who's already 28 years old. Like, is there a reason to keep him around? Maybe. Like, he's your biggest bruiser back, if you will, but the Dolphins are a finesse offense. They don't need a bruising back to just have on the roster. Wilson didn't have a role last year. Yeah, Jalen Wright. Is he really going to have a role this year? I'm not so sure. I think he should be cut. Name a Dolphins cut candidate, though. We got one more that we're going to talk about based off ESPN's projection, but name someone that you believe will be or should be cut from this Dolphins roster when it gets trimmed down to 53 men late August. Last player we're going to talk about, Sklyar Thompson, the former Kansas State quarterback who has been with this team for the past couple seasons, man, and even started a playoff game in 2022 due to a lot of injuries to the Miami Dolphins. And yeah, he didn't play last year, and you have Mike White, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sklyar Thompson made this team. And I actually think I would rather keep Skyler because Mike White's owed $3.1 million. Is Mike White $2 million better than Sklyar Thompson? Because that's what you would pay Sky if you kept him on this team. I don't think so. I'd rather have the $2 million if I'm going to be honest and cut Mike White. You have Skylar Thompson as QB2. He's been capable of doing that in the past. But the larger conversation to be had here is this how electric training camp in the preseason is going to be. Like, I don't even know if Tua is going to play that much in the preseason. I don't know if I would play Tua in the preseason. I would just let Mike White, Skylar Thompson, and UDFA Gavin Hardison battle it out because those 3 guys fighting for 1 or 2 roster spots is going to be absolutely electric. It's one of the top things that I've got my eyes out for. We've talked about the right guard battle. We've talked about the wide receiver 6 spot. QB is right there as well, man. That Skyler Thompson, Mike White, Hardison battle is going to be very fun to watch, which is why you need to be subscribed to the channel, because we are going to update you on all the training camp battles during the training camp and preseason August stretch here. And when the Dolphins 53-man roster does get announced, we will make sure you're covered faster than anyone else. So hit that sub button and get locked in here as the season is just around the corner. See what the Miami Dolphins have in store for us in 24.